everybody. I'm Jamie Kale Miller of Pandora Astrology here in Berkeley, California. And with me is Julia.
Hey guys, it's Julia Mijas joining in from San Francisco.
We're going to talk today about Saturn moving into Aquarius. Saturn's been in Capricorn for about 2.5 years. Normal amount of time for it to spend in a sign. And Saturn rules Capricorn, so it's pretty comfortable there. It's been pretty happy to be there. It's been laying down the law right and left the way Saturn does, especially in Capricorn. I think generating lots of ambition and attempting to build many things. But I think it's worth mentioning that Saturn rules Aquarius too. And that's something that I see a lot of students scratching their heads about. How can it be that Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius when they seem so different, right? So Capricorn is so very conventional. It's about building things. It's about structures. It's about rules and regulations. It's so very conservative. Whereas Aquarius is radical. It wants to break rules. It wants to innovate and create the new. My thought about why Saturn rules these two signs that are so different from each other is that both of them have a relationship to the rules. For Capricorn, it's about operating inside them or positioning yourself to make them. And for Aquarius, it's about operating outside of them or breaking them, or establishing new ones, breaking out of that box and creating a whole new paradigm. So they both are rules referented in that way. And Capricorn may be cardinal earth, which gives it its ambitious nature, but Aquarius is fixed air, which also gives it its nature. And Aquarius loves idea structures. Fixity is all about, consistency and stability and sort of like keeping things the same. And Aquarius tunes into ideologies, paradigms, systems of thought, which have a kind of a crystalline structure, right? And networks and networking, another crystalline structure. So they both are about structure, but for Aquarius, it's more conceptual because that's an air sign. So Saturn rules both, and it's moving from one of these into the other. And I want to show you the motion of this over the course of the year. On March 21st, which is what we have the chart set for, Saturn is at the very, very end of Capricorn, 29 degrees Capricorn, 58 minutes here at noon. And it's about to move into Aquarius. And I'm going to step this chart, and you're going to watch it move. I'm going to step it actually by weeks. And we're going to watch Saturn move ahead up to 1 degree of Aquarius and then back up to 27 degrees of Capricorn. So it's going to cross in and out of Aquarius several times. And while I do that, Julia, I really want to hear your thoughts about what this means for people in general. Maybe what this means for people who have anything in their chart right around that edge between Capricorn and Aquarius, or any thoughts that you have about the differences in Capricorn and Aquarius's nature and how this might be, I don't know, a little bit, of a kind of jolting, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a weird fit. But, another thing that I think about in terms of what are common ground between Capricorn and Aquarius, as well as Saturn. Saturn is the planet of time, because Saturn's function is limiting, and time is the biggest limitation we have.
Mm-hmm.
But Capricorn is the side of Saturn that looks to the past, whereas Aquarius is the side of time and Saturn that looks to the future. So that can be another thing to kind of munch on mentally. And also, Capricorn and Aquarius are both highly social signs. Not, when you think social, it's not like just chatting on the phone with your girlfriend social, but it's like society at large. Capricorn recognizes its place in a greater hierarchy that involves others. And then Aquarius recognizes its place in a constellation of relationships, of tribe. So there's a highly social dimension to both of these signs, which I do think gets expressed in the planet Saturn. Saturn into Aquarius, I think that Aquarius is also, since it is future thinking, it is visionary. Another way of looking at it, because Saturn is a stabilizing planet, is that in order for a social structure to be stabilized, progress has to happen. If you don't progress society forward, society can begin to erode, which again is another Saturn function. And in just this upcoming time, this few years that we're going to have Saturn traversing the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius also being a sign which is very concerned with technology, maths, science in general, and Saturn bringing structure to it. This could be a time where, because technology is of course becoming increasingly integral to our way of living and being, it could be a time where more structure and more regulation and more checks and balances are brought to the technologic sector as well. That's just what immediately pops in my head when looking at the symbolism.
Yeah, I really like that thought, because we noticed when Saturn was in Sagittarius a couple of years ago that there started to be more restriction around immigration and a rise of nationalism. And then in Capricorn, Saturn brings restriction wherever it goes, right? So now we're sort of seeing more of the spotlight on, with Saturn and Capricorn, on like government or on institutions like the Catholic Church, having to deal with restrictions and rules and stuff.
Reining in those ponies. And in Aquarius, it's kind of, because Aquarius is a freedom-loving sign, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of modern people, I do see the association with Uranus. I can kind of see the association for both. And they kind of help me look at that placement from two different vantage points. But thinking about the structure that Saturn brings, and Aquarius being freedom loving, it makes me think of you can, in some ways, having a structured and stable and law-abiding society actually can help garner more personal freedom for each of us, because if we're living in complete chaos and lawlessness, that's actually a lot of imprisonment in a lot of ways. If you can't hang your hat on the social order, it's actually social order that gives us the ability to have more personal freedom. Of course, these things need to be in balance. Saturn loves to be in Libra, but
right.
I do. That's another aspect to it.
Wow, that's really good stuff. So I illustrated this with a look at how Saturn moves along, and I want to go back to March 21st, and I'm going to set this to just step by days, and I'm going to make it go pretty fast, and we're just going to watch it go, and I'm going to keep my cursor pointing at that little Saturn, and you'll see it backing up and so forth. So there it is. It's moved ahead into Aquarius right away. Moving along pretty slowly, actually. Let me make this go faster. So there it is in 0 degrees of Aquarius. It's going to move ahead into 1 degree. There it goes. We're now in April. Oh, this is just way too slow. I'm going to pause this and set it to step by weeks, but a little bit more slowly. Okay, so now we can really see some things happening. Saturn, now it's too fast. Oh my goodness, using the tools. Okay. So now we're in June. Are we going backwards? No, we're going forwards. Saturn's going backwards. It goes retrograde to 25 degrees and pivots right here again, somewhere between September and October. It will then leave Capricorn for good right about here. Yep, there it is in December. And also at that point, it meets up with Jupiter. And let me show that right about here. Yeah, set this by just one more day. And there they are, Saturn and Jupiter together in December. And that's the bookend to this year of 2020. The year began with Saturn and Pluto conjuncting in just one pass. And whoa, January of 2020, hell of a month, right? And then throughout the year, we've got the wonderful Jupiter sextile Neptune. And then we've also got the mixed bag of Jupiter conjunct Pluto. And then at the end of the year, Jupiter and Saturn coming into a conjunction. That's the bookend, as if to say, wisdom comes from going all the way through the whole experience. And it's there, like the other end of the rainbow, waiting for us if we can just get through this year. Goodness. I think that's all of my thoughts. Julia, do you think that's all of your thoughts?
I think so.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Saturn will be in and out of Aquarius this year, as you saw, and then it'll go on to occupy Aquarius for about another 2 years, probably through 2022, and then shift into, of course, Pisces. And we'll talk about it then when we get there. And until then, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.